Hello, students. Today we are going to start chapter 3, The Sultans of Delhi. Now we are going to discuss about Firoz Shah Tughlaq and the Lodi dynasty. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. After the death of the Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he became the Sultan. He realized various measures that is adopted by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He had displeased the ulema and the nobility. Ulema means the religious scholar, okay, the spiritual scholar. He therefore adopted some measures to appease the ulema, that he can appease the ulema and the nobles. I'm talking about Firoz Shah Tughlaq here. Okay. He increased the salary of the nobles, gave bigger jagirs to them. Okay, he raised their salary and given them jagirs because the ulema, the religious scholars of Islam religion, and your nobles were not satisfied with the previous ruler. They were displeased. So he increased their salaries and gave them big jagirs. Soon the nobles and the ulema became very popular and they started influencing the policy of his kingdom. He introduced many welfare schemes for his people, like he dug new tanks to store water for agriculture purpose. He repaired older tanks that was prepared by Iltutmish and Alauddin Khalji. He even dug canals from river Yamuna and Satluj. That canals irrigate a large area of land. He himself constructed 30 mosques, 40 buildings for educational institutions, hospitals, public baths, wells, bridges. New cities were also built during his regime. Firoz was deeply a religious man. He also withdrew taxes that was against the spirit of Islam. He removed all the pictures from the walls of the palaces. He prohibited women that you should not visit tomb of holy saints. That women are not allowed in the tomb of holy saints. After the death of Firoz Shah, means the death of the Firoz Shah led to a war of succession. When he died, everybody was fighting for succession, for power, for his kingdom. The last Tughlaq ruler was Mahmud Nasiruddin. He ruled from 1395 to 1413. Then Mongols came. Mongol ruler Timur in AD 1398 came. He sealed the fate of the Tughlaq dynasty. Now the Tughlaq dynasty came to an end. He appointed Khizr Khan as the deputy in India. He killed thousands of people before leaving from Delhi. He invaded India, captured India, and appointed Khizr Khan as his deputy in India. These are the coins of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. The Sayyid dynasty from AD 1414 to 1451. I told you na Khizr Khan. He conquered Delhi in 1414 and the rule of the Sayyid dynasty began. There were four Sayyid kings. Mubarak Shah succeeded his father. He was man of vision, but nobles were against him. Most of the time he spent his time in controlling the nobles, that nobles were not in his control. Muhammad Shah was Mubarak Shah's nephew. During his reign, the nobles became very popular. The last ruler was Alauddin Alam Shah Sayyid. Alam Shah Sayyid. Alauddin Alam Shah Sayyid. He lost to Delhi to Bahlul Lodi in 1451. With this, the Sayyid dynasty came to an end, and Lodi dynasty, it came to a period. This is your Sayyid dynasty of Delhi Sultanate. Lodi dynasty from AD 1454 to 1526. Bahlul Lodi, he was first ruler of this Lodi dynasty. He appointed local Afghan noble as the governor of important provinces. His sultanate stretches from Punjab to Bihar. After Bahlul Lodi's death, Sikandar Lodi proved to be a very capable ruler. He brought Jaunpur and Bihar under his rule. Many public welfare schemes were launched by him. Then he was succeeded by Ibrahim Lodi. He was the last ruler of your Lodi dynasty. Ibrahim Lodi ascended the throne in AD 1507. He failed to gain the support of the Afghan nobles. The Afghan nobles' support he could not gain. Daulat Khan Lodi invited Babur, the ruler of Kabul, to invade India. Now, Daulat Khan Lodi he invited Babur. Babur was ruling in Kabul to come to India. He overthrew Ibrahim Lodi. With an army of 10,000, he defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the first battle of Panipat in 1526. In the first battle only, he defeated him. With his defeat, Ibrahim Lodi, the Sultanate finally came to an end. The Delhi Sultanate finally came to an end. This is your Lodi dynasty, the pink part you can see. Mainly the northern part they covered. This is Panipat, Delhi, Gwalior, Hajirpur, Saharanpur. This is the picture of the tomb of Sikandar Lodi, Delhi. Administration and consolidation under the Khaljis and Tughlaq. A kingdom as vast as Delhi Sultanate needed reliable governors that can be trusted. They need an administration to manage the affairs of the kingdom. They don't want to appoint aristocrats because they were ruling as the governors. They favored special slaves called bandagan. These slaves were trained very carefully. They were occupy some of the important offices in the kingdom. The Sultan trusted and depended upon these bandagan very heavily. The Khalji and Tughlaq continued to use this bandagan were appointed as the generals or the governors. The patronage of these people by Delhi Sultanates also shocked many elites because elites were more educated. They were not given such position and such jobs. They are giving to bandagan, who are the special slaves. They have been trained properly for handling these offices. Like earlier sultans, Khaljis and Tughlaq, they appointed military commanders as the governor of the territories. These lands were called iktas. Their holders were called iqtidars or muktis. Okay. The duty of muktis was to lead a military campaign. Wherever the sultan need, he ordered muktis to do a military campaign. They will do so. In return of their service, muktis collected the revenue as a salary. Whatever the revenue they are collecting, this is their salary. They also paid the soldiers from these revenue. The muktis they have to pay the salary to the soldiers from these revenues only. The control over muktis was necessary if they have to assign iktas for a short period. First iktas, the land were called iktas where military commanders were appointed and the people who were holding that land were called iktars. To control over muktis, they need to assign them land, okay, for a short period. The accounts were appointed by the state to check the control. The accountants they used to appoint for the state. They used to control the revenue, the amount which is being collected. They used to calculate it, which is being collected by muktis. The nobles were of Turkish and Afghan origin. Powerful nobles held the important position as governors and commanders. The chief nobles they were handling various departments. The Wazir, he was Prime Minister. He kept a record of revenue and expenditure, how many money is being collected, how much money is being spent. The Qazi was regal advisor on religious matter. He was king's advisor on religious matters. Ariz ek Mummalik, he was overall in charge of army. Ariz a Mummalik, he was in charge of army. Alaluddin Khalji, he started collecting an assessment of the land revenue tax which was under his control. The right of local chiefs to levy the taxes, to lay down the taxes, he cancelled. They were even forced, these chiefs were forced to pay the taxes. Okay, the administrator Sultan, he used to measure the land and he used to keep the accounts. Three type of taxes I told you earlier. On cultivation of the peasants produced lands, that is known as kharaj. On the cattle, on the houses, they used to collect. This is your Alauddin and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Large parts of subcontinent remained outside the control of Delhi Sultanate. It was difficult to be in distance provisions. Even rulers like Alauddin and Muhammad bin Tughlaq forced to control in these areas. Okay, so if there is a comparison between Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq, I'm talking about here Alaluddin Khilji. Alaluddin constructed a new town named Siri for his soldiers. The soldiers had to fed, okay, through whatever revenue he is collecting on the land. The soldiers had to pay taxes. Alauddin chose to pay his soldiers in cash. Okay, the soldiers would buy the supply from the merchants. It was feared that the merchants would raise their price because the soldiers were collecting the grains from there. Alaluddin administrative measures were very much successful. Okay. Delhi was attacked twice. As a defensive measure, Alaluddin raised a large army. This was about Alauddin Khilji. If I talk about Tughlaq, the Mongol army was defeated by him. He was confident, but he took many bad decisions. He also constructed a new town, four cities in Delhi. Okay. The resident old city was Daulatabad, that was Devagiri. Whatever the produce was from the same area is being collected as a tax. Sultans sometimes they have to levy heavy taxes. He paid his soldiers in cash. He was controlling the prices. He introduced the token currency, but people started making fake token currencies. That was illegal. Nobody was accepting it. His treasure got empty because of this. He was shifting people to Daulatabad. The people were against it. But he was not able to conquer or to look after the northern region when he was in Daulatabad. So he shifted back to Delhi. Now there is a case study in your book. The Tughlaq. It started in AD 1320 in Delhi. They were family of Turkish origin. Ghiyasuddin was first ruler of this dynasty, but his son and successor Muhammad bin Tughlaq, under whom the empire grew. He was eldest son of Ghiyasuddin. He succeeded the throne of Delhi after his father's death in 1324. He was the Sultan of Delhi from AD 1324 to 1351. He wanted to expand his empire to the South India, so he decided to move his capital, Daulatabad. So he forcefully moved his capital. He told his population also that you all should move to Daulatabad, that is your new capital. The plan failed. Why? The capital had to be shifted back to Delhi because he was unable to look after the northern part, which he conquered. The journey was long and difficult also. Many people died. Ibn Battuta writes, when I entered Delhi, it was almost like a desert. Now I'm going to tell you something about Ibn Battuta. He came in 14th century from Morocco, Africa. He explained that chieftains they used to fortify themselves in mountains, rocks, uneven rugged place, in bamboo groves. They used to live in forest, okay, inside the cattle and they used to grow the crops. There is also water for them within, the rainwater which they used to collect. They cannot be subdued except for powerful armies entering their forest. They cut down the bamboos with special prepared instruments. So, in his book, he told about the chieftains that where they used to make the houses. And he wrote, then when I entered Delhi, it was like a desert. Nobody lives there. It's looking like that. He introduced token coins, but of copper and brass. Very few people used to exchange it for gold and silver. Okay, but plan failed because people started making fake coins. That was illegal. His royal office got empty because of this. Due to this follies, he became very unpopular because he failed in many plans. He became unpopular. The people lost their trust in him. The nobles, the ulemas. Revolt broke out in Bengal and Gujarat, many other places. The Sultan died while campaigning in the Sindh. He was succeeded by his cousin Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He was ruler at AD 1351 to 1388. His realm was much smaller than Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He want to please ulemas, nobility, he want to win their hearts. He given grants of revenue to them, given them political power, increased their salaries of the nobles also. He stopped all kind of harsh punishments. He lowered down the taxes also. He was the first Muslim to think about the welfare of the people. Many rest houses, gardens, tombs were built by him. Number of madrasas were opened to encourage the literacy, madrasas where people get education. He provided money for the marriage of the girls to the poor people. 300 villages he built and dug 5 major canals that bring irrigation for him. Hindu religion's work under his he translated from Sanskrit to Persian language. He was having his personal library of manuscripts which were in Persian, Arabic, and other languages. He brought 2 Ashokan pillars from Meerut and Topara, carefully wrapped it in silk to Delhi. He re-erected one of them in the palace of Firoz Shah Kotla. Palace at Firoz Shah Kotla. He had about 1,80,000 slaves who were bought from different countries, trained them in art and crafts. Okay, however, turned out to be undependable. He used to let death his Firoz Shah death led to many rebellions. He was very lenient. He was a weakened king of the Delhi Sultan's position. The position was weakened. His successor Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq II could not control the slaves or the nobles. The army was weak. Slowly his empire shrank in size. 10 years after his death, the Delhi Timur invasion it devastated Delhi. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.